Hi, my name is Jenson. I'm the project manager for the image to scope tools for Geomni. And today I'm going to be going into one thing that most of you have probably noticed if you ordered a Geomni roof data package lately, is that we're now importing a Geomni, with the Geomni roof data package, a wireframe sketch model as opposed to your traditional sketch roof. Today I'm going to be going into a lot of the reasons why we did this and some of the added value of using the wireframe as opposed to the sketch roof. Now, the reason we're importing this wireframe is primarily to support our image to scope tools, both the Geomni tab and the image inspection tab. These are new tools that we've included with a Geomni roof data package. If you haven't seen how to use the image to scope tools, it's very simple. We have several YouTube videos out about using the image to scope tools, but the idea is I can select any roof or face, and I can select exactly what I want to do with that roof, and I can create an estimate within a few clicks, and that is an Xactimate estimate, the same as what I would expect to receive adding macros or manually adding all of those line items. If you haven't seen these videos, I highly encourage you to go onto our YouTube channel to see some of the benefits and added value of using the Geomni tab to automate your estimates. Now again, the reason we're doing this as a wireframe and we're dropping our walls is to support the image to scope tools. So let's go into some of the benefits of using the wireframe without even going into the image to scope tools. So one thing you'll notice with the wireframe sketch model is every object or line is independent. So I can select any ridge, any valley, any object we've identified throughout our imagery and attached to this wireframe. All of those are independent and each individually selectable. As opposed to my traditional block roof, I'm selecting a face and I'm selecting a ton of other faces as well. And that's because the way the wireframe operates is it understands its connection, and it also understands that it's an individual object that's a part of a grander group of the entire roof. So again, sketch roof, you have roofs, it understands the different variables, but I can't select individual items or faces. So one thing you'll notice is, and like I mentioned, every face, every object is automatically a subgroup of the primary roof. Whereas the sketch roof, again, it comes in blocks. It comes in different groups and then subgroups of that primary roof. With the sketch roof, you can select an individual roof and then create that as a subgroup of the primary roof. Again, we don't necessarily need to do that with the wireframe. However, if I do need to separate any roof from the primary roof, all I need to do is select the roofs or the roof faces that I need to separate from that primary roof. Say I want to add a different macro to these different groups. I can separate those by just right-clicking, selecting those roofs, right-clicking, and then separate those roofs, and then I can combine those as two individual roofing objects. But again, if I'm going to be using the image to scope tools, I don't need to do that. All my roofing, my lower roofing or my rolled roofing and all those different things are automatically being identified to the appropriate roof or slopes that those are going to be attached to. So I can already do that with the image to scope tools a lot easier than just doing this and separating them and adding macros. One thing I'll touch on real quick with the traditional sketch roof is the ability for naming and then changing the name of my roofs. One additional thing that people that I have heard is the ability to delete or move around my sketch roof as opposed to my wireframe. You're not able to delete and move around and copy and paste the wireframe like you're generally used to with the sketch roof. For instance, with the sketch roof, I can cut it and I can paste it into a different location or onto a different layer. That functionality is not generally used with the wireframe sketch model. And again, as soon as I go into estimate items, I'll show you the reasons that has been changed. And really separating these onto multiple layers. Again, if that's the way you're trained to do it, there is ways you can do that. But it really is a lot cleaner just to keep everything on one layer, the exterior layer, and then I can still add my macros to those individual roofing items. So again, if I wanted to attach a macro to these different roofs, all I need to do is select those roofs, and then go in and attach the macro to those individual roofs, and those will work independently of each other. But again, if I'm using the image to scope tools, again, all of this is done automatically for me when I'm writing my estimate. So now I'm going to go into the estimate items. One thing you'll notice is every roof that's been identified is in a different folder. So I'm not going to have it all grouped into the one exterior level. Every line item is going to be attached to that individual roof if I select the roof sketch before I add my macro. If I don't have anything selected and I just add a macro, it's just going to put it all on the exterior level. So one thing you'll notice is I've already automated this with the image to scope tools, so this has already been populated. If I need to rename these individual roofs, this is where I would do it. I would right click on that individual roof, then edit, and then I can name that my garage, and then I can rename this my main, and vice versa. And I can just go down and I can name these individual roofs. And then if I go back into the sketch tab, those have been renamed. And then for 25, let's say that's the lower main roof. If I need to take any of these folders and add them to different folders, what I would need to do is select the folder that's above the exterior level, and then I would need to add a new folder, and then I can take these individual options and then I can select and drag them into their individual folders, and then that would be on a different level or a separate folder in my estimate. So again, I mentioned instead of having multiple layers and multiple tabs in the sketch screen, I ultimately don't really need to do that if I want to keep everything organized and keep the line items in their individual folders. I can actually do all of that within the Estimate Items tab. Please subscribe to our Geomni YouTube channel to see any new content or videos to show you how to use the image to scope tools and how to enhance your workflow using the Geomni roof and Geomni property data packages.